talk about all the time. Toughness, effort, discipline, and pride.
Dang it, I'm going to have to buy that boy cream cone.
Now I'm distracted on my point. What were we talking about?
It's bull crap. All I care about is winning. Show me the dang baby.
You do it till they do it right, and then you do it till they can't do it wrong.
Go get him. Why are you dancing around? Eat him like he's a steak.
He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
That's how long I've been on ya.
It's Nuno and the crew on TexAgs Radio, right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
You know how long I've been on ya. Since Prince was on Apollonia. Since OJ had ice.
Oh, complaining about my sleep again. It's funny, anytime I get some time off and I get back on that 4:30 grind, it takes me a little while to get going. Had a little coffee accident this morning. I make coffee without the filter. Grounds everywhere. That's exactly the way I wanted to start the show. Welcome into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, so we're still waiting on the Aggies to name a defensive coordinator. Yesterday on the show, Billy Lucci was on, and he said he thought it would be DJ Durkin. We'll see how that plays out, the Ole Miss defensive coordinator. And we ponder what that defense could look like if that becomes the case. But we're also looking at all the craziness that we're seeing here in college football. And it happened up in Norman yesterday. Oklahoma quarterback Caleb Williams enters the transfer portal, where reports out say he is could return, maybe won't return, but he's looking at it so he can talk to schools. Shortly after that, Dylan Gabriel flips his decision. He was going to go to UCLA from Central Florida, but then all of a sudden he's like, you know what, I think I'm going to go to OU. He was supposed to start classes next week at UCLA, just to give you a little bit of perspective on there. He changes to Oklahoma. And now you look at OU, Spencer Rattler gone, Caleb Williams could be gone, potentially losing both of those guys, gaining Gabriel, who was injured most of last season. That is the craziness of college football and the transfer portal. And with that, we begin the Go Hour. Olin Buchanan with us, as he is every morning with us from 8 to 9. And OB, college football's drunk, man.
Well, if it's drunk, it may be, turning into the Otis Campbell. If you remember the Mayberry, the guy who's always drunk, right? Mm-hmm. So it's probably going to stay this way for a long time. I don't know if there's a 12-step program for the for college football to regain its sanity. I think that it's the old toothpaste out of the tube type of thing. I mean, there's going to be some guidelines put in, I think, but I don't know what you can really do to limit things now.
Yeah, once you open that door, it's very difficult to go backward. But I hate when people say, if it's not, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or also like, hey, look at the ratings. Nothing has to change. Things do need to change. There needs to be some kind of parameters with opt-outs, with transferring. I don't know what that is, because I think kids deserve to have the right to, change if they want to, but I feel like the Wild West is used so often when it comes to college football. It's too Wild Westy for me, OB. Like, it's just you can do whatever you want. Going. Never mind, I'm going here.
Well, I think it starts with if you can figure out some parameters to put on the NIL and how it's being distributed. Again, you can't, in theory, have a university, and I don't know if anybody is. Of course, on radio, you can't see me doing the air quotes, but the university itself cannot be paying players directly. The NIL opportunities are supposed to say if there's an outside business that wants, you to sign autographs or endorse a product, that's one thing. But, of course, we all know that boosters, have businesses, So, it's a real gray area. But, that's where it would start. And then the next thing, we've talked about this before, set up a time like a 2-week window when you transfer, and that's all it is. So everybody knows in these next 2 weeks it's going to be crazy, and then it's over.
But should there be some kind of negotiation between the two schools? I don't know. Like complete outright, I'm going wherever I want, wherever there's a place for me. I don't know. Like, I have to give it more thought. But like in soccer, perhaps, for instance, you can transfer during 2 windows. but then the club has to negotiate an exit for the player.
Except the club is paying the player, and there's probably a union. And I don't know. I hear it talked about, but I don't know if it's feasible for college football players to unionize. But and I don't think it's a good idea. But there's all those elements involved that aren't a part of college football yet. And if it is, it might get even worse. Who knows? But I do think that's where you start. And again, we've talked about this so many times. It's the NCAA's fault. They could have been forward-thinking and put in parameters in place beforehand and put it part of your scholarship. When you sign your scholarship, you understand these are the rules and things like that, and here's what your opportunities. They didn't. They just hoped it'd go away and they'd win, and just going to keep paying Mark Emmert millions of dollars and other people millions of dollars until – and they're still getting millions of dollars, but now some of the players are getting it too. It's a shame that the NCAA is such a weak organization and quite frankly just stupid and inept that they didn't anticipate that they would lose, and then that there would need to be some things in place. But that's your governing body.
So on my drive to work this morning, I was listening to ESPNU, and one of the discussions they were having, it was with the Cannell show, but it wasn't Cannell talking, Justin Cannell. It was one of their other analysts, and he was saying that he is so confused by college football's bowl system that, like, am I watching the 2022 team or am I watching the 2021 team? I want there to be one team, not kind of a mix. So would you like to see a future where if you're not in the college football playoffs, you are playing, it is a preview of 2022. So the year coming up ahead, right? So instead of, then it makes the decisions for the Michael Clemens of the world. Your last game is your last game. The bowl game is a preview moving forward to what next year could look like.
But what if you're a senior guy and you want to play?
Exactly.
No, I think that's never the case. I think that the bowl games, for whatever they've become, are still the last game of the season that's being completed. I mean, it's just what it is. Now, maybe this is just, it shows you how important depth is. It shows you that, let's remember, a team is not just your starters. And quite frankly, one of the reasons, you'd always see big upsets in bowl games even before all this is because you never know which team really wants to play.
Yeah.
And this just makes it pretty clear, when guys are opting out left and right.
At least the guys that are playing want to play. Yeah, exactly. Let's go around the room and say hello. Dalton, good morning to you, buddy.
Good morning. You forgot about me yesterday,
Yeah, because like 74.3% of the time you want me to avoid you in the morning.
I mean, it's not football season. You could say my busyness in the morning is dropped by about half.
So what you're saying is we can lower your salary during non-football season.
I mean, I expected that to come anyways. I think I'm getting fired. That's how I work every day.
I have that same thought. No matter what I do, like this could be it. This could be the big one. I'm out.
Yeah. But happy Tuesday, guys. SEC basketball's back tonight.
We're pumped about that. Obi and I spoke about this a little bit yesterday. I don't think I know this team. I know their deficiencies. Like, I know where they struggle. I still don't know how that's going to translate this SEC season, Obi.
I don't either. You're gonna find. I'll say one thing. The last two seasons, A&M has been among the very worst in the country in free throw shooting percentage. And now they're actually pretty good at it. So they lead the SEC in three-point shooting. So when you say
they were under 30% the last 2 years, right? And now this year they're like 34.
I think well under.
Yeah.
But and this year I think they're around 37.
37, yeah.
And that when you say I don't know this team, man, I don't know this team that can actually shoot. Now again, they're limited with an inside game, and they get a lot of turnovers. They don't rebound well on the defensive end sometimes. Those are the deficiencies. And if you can get better in those and free throw shooting, one night they shoot 80%, the next game they might shoot 50%.
Right.
So if they can get some consistency there, I think they have a chance to be a pretty decent team. But do you, when A&M goes to the foul line, do you feel confident they're going to make it? Of course. When a team misses a shot, do you feel confident that's the end of their possession?
What are they shooting, like 65%, something like that, from the free throw line?
Overall,
yeah.
But, I was looking it up yesterday. The game they lost to TCU, they shot 44.4%.
That's worse than Shaq.
And then in their last game, then they came back against Oregon State, shot about 78% from the foul line.
Yeah.
And then the next game after that, I think they're around 80. And then the next game after that, 65, and then 52.
So they're really a 65% shooting
So
team.
they're all over the place.
Huh. Let's go to the news and socials editor. Tomas Romo has been cruising. He's been hanging with the family. Welcome back to the show, brother.
Welcome back, guys. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
All right, let's kick it off. Dalton mentioned A&M begins SEC play tonight at Georgia. Winners of their last four, the Aggies enter conference play with an 11-2 record led by Quentin Jackson, who leads the team with 13.7 points per game. This is A&M's best start after 13 games since the 2017-2018 season.
I don't know how much to read into that because they've had a pretty easy non-conference schedule with some nice wins. I'm not taking anything away from that, but overall – it's not been too taxing of a season, but I'll take 11 wins at this point.
Yeah, I remember that, some of those early seasons under Melvin Watkins when they were almost like, I think they went into conference play almost undefeated or something. I remember saying, and they were, their schedule was questionable. We say, they're going to upgrade their schedule they're trying to upgrade their schedule. They're trying to get games with Georgetown and Temple. And if they can't get them, they're going to call Killeen. That's how weak the schedule is. This year, at least they got Notre Dame. They've beaten Butler, which may not be a vintage Butler team. But they're played Wisconsin, lost. But at least they went out and played some teams here and there that you're going to have to work.
Oregon State, who's not a good team this year. They're a program with a name that actually had a nice run last year.
Yes, last year. I think this year, when A&M played them, they were 1-10.
Yeah, they were not good.
And I don't know what they are now.
And by the way, Georgia not good either.
Georgia has lost 3 of its last 4. They've lost to Gardner-Webb. They've lost to East Tennessee State and George Mason in that 3.
You got to win those games.
Yeah.
You have obviously you have to win those games. But if this team wants to be a conversation piece for any NCAA tournament, and I don't know if they're going to make the tournament, or I'm not suggesting that they should, but if they want to, we want it to be an interesting conversation throughout the year, those lesser tier teams, and A&M was the lesser tier team last year, but the Missouris, the Georgias, you got to win those games. And then against those middle tier SEC teams, you got to split. And then hopefully you upset one of the top ones.
Yeah, I think A&M has a chance to get off to a fast start. But you've got to do it, And again, TCU's not a good basketball team. They're probably average to below average, and A&M lost that game because they couldn't make free throws and they turned the ball over. So they've gotten better at turning the ball over. Got to get better shooting. Just do the things you're good at well,
and minimize what you're not good at.
And then I think you'll find a reasonably successful A&M basketball team.
All right, so we're going to give out some awards today. Yeah, that's right. Student of the Year. We're going to do that here on the program. We're going to give out defensive awards when we come back here on the program. If you want to be a part of the show, though, you can text us on the AMB text line, AMB, a College Station branch of the Amarillo National Bank. Good Texas Banking, the website, amb.com. You can also call us on the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150. It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
He's worked for Chip Howard, Mark Cuban, and Mickey Mouse. David Nuno on TexAgs Radio on The Zone.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, and Rudy's Barbecue. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on the Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Today, millions of people all across America are building a life in recovery from addiction and mental illness, helping themselves
and helping each other, with friends, family, and community lending their strength and support.
Join the Voices for Recovery.
Together, we are stronger.
For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders, for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
People join Walk MS to raise awareness and funds that change the world for everyone affected by multiple sclerosis. MS attacks the brain and spinal cord. It's the most common neurological disease leading to disability in young adults. Walk MS brings communities together, creating teams with friends, loved ones, and coworkers to rally around those we care about and end MS forever. Join us. Together we are stronger. Walk MS fundraising accelerates research breakthroughs and life-changing breakthroughs. It will take all of our passion, determination, and fundraising to end MS forever. Together, we can change the world for people with MS. Join us. Register today, start a team, and raise funds at walkms.org.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Howie Long joining us this morning on Keyshawn, J. Will,
Howie Long, son.
Kyle Long joining us this morning on the morning.
Thank you, Michael Thomas.
It's on the family.
Hey, when I was on the podcast the other day, and I said, Kyle, you didn't even say anything. You were just like, I know in your mind, you probably was like, this dummy.
Spend your mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Mornings from 5 to 8 here on The Zone.
We are TexAgs Radio. We're here, presented by David Garner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. The difference is real with Rollo Insurance. They're an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. They can write any form of insurance to anyone in Texas and several other states, as well as they have 30 offices here in the state of Texas. Their headquarters is here in College Station on Highway 6. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com. OB, I got a text from you yesterday around, I think 3 or 4 o'clock. I might be making up the time where you're like, I'm in. The Tough Mudder, you're in. You're going to do it.
Yes, let's try it out. I need a new challenge, and I've been kind of idle for too long. So,
did you watch the video?
I did.
Any of it look too hard?
A lot of it looked challenging, especially for a 60-year-old guy, but
you saw some 60-year-old guys in that video too, though, right?
But I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. When do you start your training?
By the way, today. But by the way, speaking of older gentlemen, let's be happy to report.
Oh, this is great news.
That R.C. Slocum, former A&M football coach, winningest coach in A&M history, as well as a very friendly guy, has been reported to be cancer-free.
So I've got a Facebook post that someone on the boards took a screenshot of. It says, today I had testing done at MD Anderson in Houston and met with my doctor there, Dr. Nathan Fowler, head of Department of Lymphoma. He told me that I am now cancer-free. I want to thank him and the staff at MDA, also Dr. Judy, nurses and staff at Baylor Scott and White and College Station. In addition, I thank my Lord and Savior, all those that prayed for my healing. To God be the glory. Last but certainly not least, I want to thank my wife, Nell, for her love and support throughout this trial. Wonderful news from Coach Slocum, one of the greatest guys out there.
He is a super guy, super football coach, super everything, and I'm so happy to hear that. I've always had a great respect and admiration and fondness for RC.
Myself as well. And anytime not that it's about what we do for a living, but from a professional setting, just one of the most accommodating guys. You know, he didn't know me like he knew you and obviously Billy and whatnot, but if I needed him, he was there.
Yeah, and, he was one of those coaches that would let you interview players, and if they said something, now everybody wants to try to control everything. He'd just say, they said something controversial. He'd say, well, you got to cash that check now. Don't write a check with your mouth that your butt can't cash.
Right. Love that.
He was great. So, and still is. And so I'm very happy to hear that.
Hey, guys, if you want to text the show, you can argue with us about who we're giving out some awards to. This is what we do here in January. We're going to give out some defensive awards. You can call the show 979-693-1150 on the BCSI hotline or text us on the AMB text line 979-693-1150. OB, who is your breakout defensive player of the year?
Well, I don't know how it can't be Tyreek Chappelle, right? A guy that was third string and got forced into the starting lineup, and he had some ups and downs, like good, very good, experienced cornerbacks will. But I think he continually got better and became a very, very strong cornerback. So, in my mind, if you're looking for a breakout guy, it was Tyreek Chappelle.
I went a different angle. I went with Antonio Johnson. And not that he was a breakout.
Okay.
But because this guy could have been the defensive player or MVP of this team with how the impact he had. I'm not saying he's my defensive MVP, but he was so impactful all season long. To me, he moved up several charts. So did Chappelle, by the way. And we're going to get to Chappelle here with my awards in a moment. But as good as Antonio Johnson was this year, it's like he was a breakout star, I think, nationally now.
Yeah, I think you can make that argument. I thought he was good last year. But had he really broken out? I don't know. Maybe not. But you could if you said no, that he was just good, but he wasn't quote broke out, then I wouldn't argue with that.
And to me, it's just because I think he made a name for himself. People were talking about him. Defensive Freshman of the Year.
Well,
you can go twice in a row.
Well, Chappelle comes to mind. I'm trying to think if there, if there was anybody else that I would really strongly consider there, and I guess not. I think
he had to grow up quick, right?
He did.
Had to grow up when Miles Jones went down, and he was somebody that in the very beginning you could tell that offensive coordinators were trying to pick on, and they stopped picking on him after a while.
Yeah. In fact, it seemed like they threw more at Jalen Jones.
Yeah.
Down the stretch. I don't know if there's another guy that could even fit in that category.
41 tackles, 9 pass breakups. He had a pick. He was awesome. Playmaker Award. Who was the guy who just made plays? Again, there's several people who can be the answer for this, but we're just having a talk show discussion here.
The first name that comes to mind is Leon O'Neal. I've always thought he's a playmaker. I think about the fumble recovery against Alabama. I think about the interception against Kent State for a touchdown. He just seemed to make plays. He always does. So, right off the top of my head, of course, Antonio Johnson's there. He had an interception against Missouri, and was Antonio with the big hit against Prairie View on the sack that Clemens turned into a touchdown? And then, so this is hard because then I could say, was there a bigger interception all year than Damani Richardson in the end zone against Alabama?
No. Goodness, what a pick. Yeah, you can go that. You can absolutely go that.
And then you can look at all the sacks by whoever this or whoever that. And I'll stick with Leon.
Yeah, I went Michael Clemens.
Okay.
And the reason for Michael Clemens to me here was just like his sacks, I felt them in the press box. The sacks at the LSU game, which unfortunately ended the way it did, that little series, just boom, boom, it was all about him. One more would have been great. But that being said, he had 32 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. He was just a big hitter in the backfield.
You could almost say Tyree Johnson then.
You can say Tyree Johnson
his
as well.
numbers
Yeah.
are about the same.
Yeah.
And then there's that Leal guy.
He's not bad. Pretty good. He's going to show up on my awards here. Tone Setter Award. That can be a leadership award. It could be on the field, off the field, somebody who set the tone for this defense.
I think it's DeMarvin Leal.
Okay.
I think he was a guy that everybody followed, and I think everything like that starts up front usually. And, he didn't always make the sack or whatever, but a lot of times, or the tackle, but a lot of times he made the play, and he brought so much attention to himself that allows other people to do things. I just think DeMarvin was the tone setter for that defense.
I went here Leon O'Neal, and the reason I went Leon was because his work ethic during the preseason, all the videos he posted of getting out there, boxing, doing whatever, cardio, everything he was doing, lifting, his plays on the field, the emotional leader that he was. He set the tone, I think, with his play, but also with his words. And also, I'm trying to differentiate my awards. So I went Leon with that one. Defensive Play of the Year. We're probably going to have the same answer here, but go ahead.
Player or play?
Play. If you remember. How about I give you mine?
Okay. I know which one I'm probably going to say, but go ahead.
Against Auburn, the Michael Clemens scoop touchdown.
Yeah. That would certainly be one. I'm going to say it was, even though it was not a touchdown, I'm going to say it was the Damani Richardson interception against Alabama. You didn't get the touchdown, but you denied them a touchdown. So
that was huge. Absolutely.
They think they're about to score a touchdown and start taking control of the game, and Damani Richardson undercuts that ball and gets the interception. If he had caught it maybe another yard earlier, it might be a coast-to-coast touchdown, but as it was a heck of a play.
All right, one last one quickly. The most valuable defensive player.
Yeah, I'm still saying I'm going back to DeMarvin.
That's what I got her too.
I just, it all starts up front. And
he had the double teams. He opened things up. He still made plays. He had a lot of he had a lot of attention coming into the season as a potential top 10, 15 pick, and he lived up to it.
Yeah. I think DeMarvin Leal should be remembered as one of the most dominant players ever at A&M.
Yeah. All right, guys, right now, a moment for the Association of Former Students. You should check out all the great work that they do. Check them out at aggienetwork.com/giving. You can be a part of the action with what they've done for over 140 years. Your financial gifts have empowered them to be here, to be there, to be everywhere, and they have done that for such a long time. And just the impact can be felt all around campus and beyond. We're talking all around the world, guys. $125,000 to student organizations. You've got the Warrior Scholar Project. You've got support for the MSE, Midnight Yale Security, study abroad scholarships, academic scholarships. They're all over the place. $100 a month. We're talking $9 to $10, $100 a year, $9 or $10 a month. You get that plaque, you get the decal, you get the Texas Aggie magazine. Plus, you're continuing in the oldest, most inspiring tradition of Aggies helping other Aggies out there. To learn more about the impact of the association, make a gift, or get involved, visit aggienetwork.com/giving.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. A&M Consolidated High School presents The Addams Family, the musical comedy. Performances run January 13th through the 16th. Purchase tickets online at amchschoir.org/musical. Pride Community Center offers 2 support groups to bring individuals together to address societal pressure, discrimination, and stigma regarding LGBTQ+ identity. For more information on these programs, visit pridecc.org. When you don't know where to turn to 211 Texas, a free, easy-to-remember helpline that connects you to community services. Simply dial 211 or visit 211texas.org. Listen in to the College Football National Championship game, Alabama versus Georgia, from ESPN Radio and presented by T-Mobile, right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, and online at radioaggieland.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
The strength of America, our values, our way of life, hasn't just been won on the battlefield. It's won every day in our communities when we come together, extending hands of compassion, service, and hope to those who need it most. For over 100 years, the American Legion has been strengthening communities across our nation by providing life-saving help and support to our veterans and neighbors during times like we're facing today. It's what the Legion's all about. From blood drives to distributing food, from responding to emergencies and protecting the most vulnerable among us. Our mission is making America's communities stronger.
We are one family, and therefore we care.
We are the American Legion, veterans strengthening America. To learn how you can help, visit legion.org.
Since 1957, Slovacek Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovacek is the official sausage of Texas A&M Athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovacek. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovacek Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
Start your sports day with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Weekday mornings from 5 to 8 on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Or just tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150. WC Tractor is your local award-winning Kubota and New Holland dealer. Call them with your questions at 1-888-8-TRACTOR. That's 1-888-8-TRACTOR. Or check them out online at WCTractor.com. Rise and shine. Weekday mornings from 5 to 8 with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max from ESPN Radio. Powered by WC Tractor. Here on The Zone.
And we're back. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, let's talk about all things football. We can even go basketball with our next guest, Charean Williams, Pro Football Talk, joining us here to break down all things. Good morning to you, Charean. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on Happy New Year, but it still seems close enough to the day to wish a Happy New Year.
Yeah, well, Olin, you want to give us a ruling on this?
No, I think you can be hoping for a Happy New Year. I'll give you the whole month of January.
Okay.
I like it.
mean, there's still 361 days to go, so there's a lot of happiness that can.
I think I'm once you get to the double-digit days, the 10th, you're moving on. Yeah.
Okay.
Happy January. We move on to that. But hey, Charean, so over the weekend the Ags got another one at the Under Armour All-American Bowl.
Yeah.
Harold Perkins, quite amazing group that Jimbo has put together. Just I know we all expected it, we're hoping for it, but now that it's official, your thoughts?
Oh, it's exciting. I think everybody's excited. I got a couple texts from Aggies I hadn't heard from in a while yesterday saying, isn't this exciting? And it is. So I think we're all looking forward to 2022. And unfortunate we couldn't play in a bowl game, or maybe fortunate, but it's just good to be looking forward to 2022 with a lot of hope and expectation. And hopefully they put this group together and play really well. And these freshmen can step right in, some of them, and really make a difference. And that's what you hope for when you get 5 stars. You want them to come in and step in right away and be difference makers. And frankly, the way college football is now, they need to step in and play right away, or they're going to be going somewhere else after the first year. So it's just a different game now with these guys, and hopefully this works out and we win a national championship with them. I think conference championship is the first step, and if you do that, you're going to the playoff game.
Well, you said you heard from a bunch of Aggies. My question would be, knowing that some of your former coworkers and colleagues are pain in the ass Texas fans, how many have you heard from any of those guys about A&M's?
Well, it was fun
class?
Because the latest 5-star came on Sunday during the Cowboys game, and I made sure to say, "Hey, Clarence, you see we got another 5-star," and he just kind of shook his head. So I think they've resigned themselves to the fact that we're going to beat them in recruiting this year. They just think we're not going to do much with them, and hopefully we prove them wrong on that front. But, yeah, I have a lot of fun right now with the Longhorns for sure.
You know, I would want, and sorry, this is just a comment, but I would wonder why anyone at Texas would ever question someone else developing players when, you know, DeMarvin Leal and All-American, Kenyon Green's All-American, and nobody has done less with more than Texas over the last, 10 years. Nobody.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and it's true. And their problem too has been the quarterback position, just not getting that right. Maybe they have it right now, and maybe they don't have it right. We're going to find that out too. But they haven't gotten that position right in a really long time. Who's the last quarterback they had? Colt, Vince. I mean, since those guys, they really haven't gotten that position correct, and that's been a big part of their problem. You just have to have a quarterback. As we talked about many times, you have to have the quarterback to win. If you don't have the quarterback, you're not going to win a national championship. That's the bottom line.
Charean Williams on the BCSI hotline. Charean, why is it so hard for people to just accept that A&M has a great culture, great facilities, and this is why they have the number one recruiting class or signing class, and not be something fishy like, the only way an 8-4 team is able to sign a top class is by cheating? Why can't people just let it be?
Oh, I just think that's the way people are now, and social media makes it so much worse. I mean, especially when you could think you can be anonymous and say stuff that you wouldn't ordinarily say in a public setting. So, I think that's made things worse. But a lot of it is just people who haven't been to A&M and haven't experienced what it's like. And, I love what Jimbo is doing with this football team and how he's developing it and bringing in great players. And, the players who are there now and have been there under Jimbo, you see them leave and really tout the program. And I think that's exciting. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see guys leaving and saying, well, I wouldn't have gone there. They leave. Even Christian Kirk now. And you saw it with Randy Bullock, answered TexAgs radio tweet last week, gig them. So they all speak so highly of the program and how much fun they had, even though they weren't winning national championships. And hopefully this next group will have some rings to go with, all those good feelings, and it'll be doubly happiness when they leave A&M. But it is good to see some of those former players just speaking so highly of the school after they leave, and what a good experience they had. That tells you just the culture and the program and the environment is really good.
Nobody does that more than Von Miller, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always been very outspoken about it.
Correct.
Since I brought up an NFL guy, though, Charean, let me ask you an NFL question. Dallas Cowboys are, in your opinion, and are the Cowboys a smart football team? And I asked this after, of course, watching that game against the Cardinals.
Well, the dumbest play was the one they were out-coached on with calling the timeout with 4 minutes left in the third quarter. And it's a play to both locker rooms after the game, and it's a play that the Cardinals had practiced specifically to get the Cowboys to call timeout. And it's brilliant. What they did was they set their kicker onto the field, so the Cowboys saw the kicker come onto the field, and so they started subbing out. It was 4th and 5 from the 8, and they started subbing out, so they're not going to hold the plays. Well, it turns out the kicker's the only new player who came onto the field. So they lined up, and the Cowboys had Christian Kirk, Zach Ertz, and A.J. Green uncovered on the left side. They actually covered the kicker, who went out wide to the right, and then Kyler was still in the game, and it forced the Cowboys to take the timeout. The Cardinals were never going to go for it. They were going to take the delay of game penalty and then kick the field goal, but the whole intent was to make the Cowboys call the timeout, and they did, and it turned out to be huge because the Cardinals fumbled later, and the Cowboys couldn't challenge it because they had used their final timeout right before that play. So, it's little things like that during the game that you think aren't a big deal that they have to figure out how to fix that are a big deal. Last night, if you watched the game, Jadeveon Clowney threw a shoe. it would have been fourth down, and the Steelers would have had a decision to make whether to try a long field goal, which long field goals at Heinz Field aren't always a sure thing, or they could have gone for it. But the 15-yard penalty on throwing the shoe gave the Steelers a first down. They ended up scoring the only touchdown of the first half. So it's just those little things to me that are holding the Cowboys back. Dumb penalties at dumb times, just right now. Or that's why you have to be perfect when you play good teams. And I'll say this about the Cowboys. Who have they beaten that makes you think that they can win one playoff game, much less 3 in a row? They just don't have that signature win. I thought Sunday was going to be it against the Cardinals, and it wasn't. And now they may face the Cardinals again in 2 weeks, having fallen from the 2 seed to the 4 seed. That's not really where you want to be.
I was just going to say I saw them seem to stay in man defense the whole game, no matter what was going on.
Yeah.
And it seemed like I can remember them trying to play at I can't remember the actual situation, but they're trying to block. I think his name's Jones, the really good pass rusher, and they're trying to block him with Dalton Schultz, who's a small tight end, and he just blew up the play. And like, why do you even do that? Why do you even try that? So there's a lot of things that I watched that game. I think this team's not smart, but let's get back to college football.
Well, actually, I had a follow-up question, not even Cowboy related, just NFL-wise. David Culley, do you think he's around next year for the Texans?
I do, and originally I thought he might be one and done, but I do think they bring him back for another year, and I think he's done an amazing job. People thought I was crazy before the year started, and I said the over-under in wins for the Texans would be 5, and they may get there this week. I don't think they do. I think they end up with 4, but it turns out that 5 was a pretty good number there because everybody thought they were going to win 1 or 2 games, but they've been better than what people expect. They've beaten some really good teams. I think Davis Mills might be the best quarterback in this quarterback class. We'll see. I think he was outplayed a little bit by Trey Lance the other day, at least in the second half. But I think they have some things they can build on, and maybe they have the quarterback so they can go draft an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. I mean, that's the 2 groups that look like they're going to be really good out of this draft. But get you one of those guys or a couple of those guys and start building toward the future. So I do think he's back. Long-winded answer your question. I do think he's back for 1 more year, and hopefully they have a successful year and start building on something. They'll get a lot out of this Sean Watson trade that they can use like the Cowboys did when they traded Herschel Walker.
Hey, let's get into the top Aggies in the NFL here with the 17th game coming up this weekend.
Yeah, 17th game, week 18, and then we'll start into the postseason. Number 3, we're going to go with Dan Moore from last night. He blocked Myles Garrett, and we all know that Myles has the groin injury, so Myles wasn't himself, but he ended up with 1 tackle and 2 quarterback hits, and that was pretty much it. As you saw, T.J. Watt probably win Defensive Player of the Year award. Unfortunate for Myles, he played through this groin injury and just hasn't been the same. Still sitting on 15 sacks, and T.J. Watt may set the record. So I think T.J. Watt probably gets Defensive Player of the Year. Number 2, we're going to go with Ryan Tannehill, 34-3 win over his former team, the Miami Dolphins. He was 13-18, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Guess what? Titans are the number 1 seed in the AFC right now. Just have to beat the mighty Texans, which they couldn't do the first time they played them. But if they beat the Texans, they're the number 1 seed. They'll have a week off. They'll probably get Derrick Henry back. All things are rolling for the Titans. I don't rule them out being the Super Bowl team. Ryan Tannehill starting in the Super Bowl would be a lot of fun for Aggies, I think. And number 1, Von Miller, best game as a Ram, 5 tackles, 2 sacks. 3 quarterback hits, 3 tackles for loss. A 2019 victory over the Ravens. He was a big part of that because to really end the Ravens' comeback hope. So outstanding game by Vaughn, another team that just can't look past to perhaps represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. It'd be kind of fun to have Vaughn going against Ryan Tannehill.
Charean, thank you so much. We'll talk to you next week as the playoffs get started.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Charean Williams here on the BCSI hotline right now. A moment for Chance McClain and Heritage Films. YourHeritageFilm.com is the website. They make documentary films about your life. They make documentary films about your boss, your father, your uncle, whoever it may be. They do such great work out there. And if you are sick of playing the game of telephone, you tell your story. Your father told you his story. You try to tell it to your kids, and you got some details right, some details wrong. This is why you need to get Chance McClain involved, because Chance will tell that story the way it needs to be told. He will have you say it, your boss say it, whoever the story's about. He'll film it. It takes about 8 to 10 weeks, slave to the process, gets it all done. And this is the kind of guy that travels the country doing these stories. We're talking top-notch stuff, and he's bringing his services here to TexAgs because he knows that Aggies care about their history. His daughter goes to A&M, so he's all in when it comes to our story and what we're all about. So Aggie's listening all around the world. This is the guy you need to call for that documentary film about your life or your boss's life or your dad's life. YourHeritageFilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341, YourHeritageFilm.com. It's Heritage Films.
Your home for Sunday and Monday night NFL is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The NFL is on the zone.
It's time to do your civic duty and make sure the best candidates get elected for office. Hi, I'm Gabriel Garcia, and I'm asking you to re-elect me as your Brazos County District Clerk. I have a passion for public service, and I've made a number of positive changes in the District Clerk's office, including added deputy clerks in court, stressing the importance of preserving and archiving records, and adding a Clerk 1 position without raising the salary budget. Re-elect me, Gabriel Garcia.
Paid for by Gabriel Garcia Campaign, Pet Septic Treasurer.
My name is Bobby. I'm a veteran and lost my leg to a roadside bomb. My victory was going from a wheelchair to becoming a weightlifting champion.
I'm Sam. I'm a veteran. My victory was finding a career I can be proud of and supporting my family.
America's veterans are on their most important tour, the tour of their lives, to help veterans get the benefits they've earned.
I'm a veteran, and my victory was finishing my education.
DAV offers veterans of all generations a lifetime of support for victories great and small.
My victory was proving that disability is not a limitation.
My victory was getting my service dog a new best friend.
We help more than 1 million veterans every year as they face and conquer their challenges.
My victory is being able to be there for my family.
When America's veterans win, we all win. Help us support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Pioneer Steel, Gulf States Toyota, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Every year, 4.5 million young adults between the ages of 18 and 24 visit the ER.
It's every parent's nightmare.
Umergency gives you all the tools you need to quickly and effectively manage your family's emergency. Umergency provides instant access to vital resources, customized to your student's campus and local community, digital consent form, and built-in urgent alert button. Umergency gives you peace of mind when you need it most. Download your Umergency app now.
This is Jerome from Birmingham, previously from Paul Feinbaum Show.
An Oscar winner. Can't tell you how excited we are to welcome J.K. Simmons to our program.
Baseball is competing. Football is competing. I don't understand competing in the creative arts. I always use the word receive this award or that award because it's not like I'm arm wrestling Mark Ruffalo to see who's going to come out on top.
It's the Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on The Zone.
All right, final segment of the Go Hour here, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Got a couple text messages there on the A&B text line. This one from John in Cyprus. Listening to McElroy and Cole Kublik on Jocks 94 before you guys started up, talking to a guy out of Baton Rouge about NIL and A&M. Said we have the largest alumni base, more Fortune 500 CEOs than any school at any time, and probably 200 billionaires walking around Kyle Field. This discussion was around LSU, why they are so far behind.
Well, here's something that no one wants to talk about. I know A&M, is going to get a lot of attention because they're, number one class. Before all this NIL, A&M had the number 3 class just about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yep.
So it's not like A&M came from nowhere.
It's not like they were like 37th. And by the way, didn't Missouri finish with a top 10 class?
Yeah, well, did it? Oh, maybe. I know it's really good. So it's not. But my point is, it's not like A&M's come from nowhere. They've had good recruiting classes, and you figure that Houston, those people that follow recruiting, like Broniger and Billy, say that this is the bumper crop in Houston. I mean, it's always a lot of talent out of Houston, but this year was a bumper crop, and so. The whole thing. A&M has a national championship coach. They're in the SEC. They got the great fan support. They got the great facilities. There's it's an AAU school. All those things. You got you go to A&M, you might become the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Yep. You just said so. All those things are going in your favor, and then and now you have the NIL. Like Jimbo said, teams have been paying players all along. Now it's just an even playing field.
Now it's out in the open.
And if you can do it, come up with ways that I'm not saying the university is, I'm not saying the university isn't. I don't know. But I do know like TexAgs and has struck deals with different companies to help take advantage of the whole NIL thing. So why to act like A&M is suddenly a major player in recruiting is just, once again, people not paying attention. And we were talking off the air, my analogy for what's going on with A&M and why people A&M is like, years ago, the beautiful, hot woman in the office building that has moved into a position of high management. And people are uncomfortable with that. So what do they say? They come up with a reason. Well, she slept her way to the top. Well, A&M must be doing something shady because I'm uncomfortable that they're better than me.
And guess what? They're better than you. Sorry. It is what it is, folks.
They're recruiting better than you are.
And yes, they still have to win. And yes, there's still a lot to be done. But the direction, and look, when you get this many 5 stars, some of them transfer. Some of them don't pan out. I like your chances when you get the ones that everybody wants at every position. Linebacker, in the secondary, on the defensive line, on the offensive line. At quarterback, at wide receiver, everywhere.
Deal me 3 aces and 2 kings, and it doesn't guarantee I'm going to win, but I like my chances.
And by the way, they had a pretty good recruiting class last year.
They've been recruiting well ever since Scott. He's recruited his whole career.
His whole career. Thank you, OB. Appreciate you. All right, hour number 2, Logan Lee going to be joining us here. We'll see you in a bit. TexAgs Radio.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hey, Joe, I thought you were retired.
Living on a fixed income is tough. So here I am, an essential worker.
I know. I mean, food prices are going up every day. Thank goodness for benefitscheckup.org.
Benefits what?
Benefitscheckup.org. It's a free website where people over 60 can find help to pay for food, medicine, even utilities. I got $1,200 a year in benefits. Maybe it can help you.
You love beer, steak, Aggie football, and your community. Hang out with Louis Bellina, weekdays 11 to 2 on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. This is KZNE, College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. There have never been so many Texans getting tested for COVID or getting the virus.
The state says there were 12,253 new reported cases New Year's Eve, but then the numbers really tick up.
44,110 January 1st, 47,131 on January 2nd, and 51,481 Monday the 3rd. In an email, spokeswoman says they've been processing more than 250,000 test results a day over the last few days. The positivity rate for the PCR test up to 34%. Now, if there's a silver lining, she says these case counts do include backlogged lab reports from last week. Barbara Schwartz, TSN News.
The Brazos County Health District's first pandemic report of the new year should be out later today. On her 35th birthday, a Bryan woman goes to the Brazos County Jail for the 9th time. According to the College Station Police arrest report, an officer patrolling the Northgate District on Saturday saw a man trying to keep his female friend from approaching a bar. When the officer asked what was going on, the manager of the bar came out and said the woman had assaulted her earlier. The officer learned Roxanne Morales and her friend had left the bar with a full fishbowl beverage. The manager followed them to take the drink away and dumped it out. Morales hit the manager in the back of the head. The bar manager did not press charges, but Morales was arrested and charged with public intoxication. It's not your imagination. Everybody is moving to Texas, according to the latest study by U-Haul.
We have lots of jobs and affordable homes. There's low regulation, friendly people. You know, it's got that wide open free feel, so people really like it here.
That's the company's John Martinez. U-Haul looked at one-way rentals. Texas had more people coming than leaving per capita. Florida is second. And when it comes to the states where people are fleeing, California is at the bottom. But the study found that the exodus was not as severe as in 2020. For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
When we started Intercon in early 1991, we were well aware that we would be competing with some companies that use unscrupulous techniques to make a quick sale, such as bait and switch, or 40% off if you commit today, or misleading, incomplete quotes. Intercon's practice is to be completely honest and encourage prospective customers to talk to our former customers. We've encouraged customers to get multiple quotes. We are confident and proud of our value proposition for windows, glass, and solar screens. We never want anyone to rush into a decision they will regret in the future. Just remember, warranties are only as good as the people who provide them and are servicing the area when situations arise. This is our home and only marketplace, and we will protect our home turf. You've probably heard the saying, the buck stopped here, and that is with me, Brad Beard, president and co-owner of Intercon LLC.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Steve Miller with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click hillcosupply.com. Texas A&M men's basketball tips off its SEC slate this evening as it pays a visit to Georgia. The Maroon and White are 11-2 and riding a 4-game winning streak. Tip-off is at 6 o'clock with the broadcast on 1620 94.5 WTAW. The Aggie women dropped their SEC opener Sunday falling to LSU 75-66. The Maroon and White were forced to play without 3 of their bigs due to COVID-19. Coach Gary Blair on what it's like wading through the protocol waters.
Every school is different. It doesn't matter what the SEC or the national rules are or what Dr. Fauci says sometimes. Every school is different. We're not all the same in the SEC. We had a 10-day quarantine, and now hopefully it's being chopped down to 5. But even after 5, you still have protocol. And that means cardiologists, blood work, return to play. 25%, 50%, 75% of the minutes that you normally average.
25th ranked Aggies are on the road Thursday when they visit Tennessee. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. I'm Steve Miller on The Zone.
Listening to The Zone on your Amazon Daughter Echo is easy. Even Louie figured it out. 2 simple steps, and you can hear Chip Howard Sports Talk, TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, and many of your favorite A&M teams anytime, anywhere with your special friend, Alexa. Step 1, and only one time, say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Then anytime you want to hear your favorite host or teams, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Zone 1150. Make sure to set it all up and say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill, and listen in anytime just by saying, Alexa, play Zone 1150.
That's right. Reality check, you know what I mean? Street lights, you know? Dookie. Scorpion. I was young, I used to dream of being rich. Having a lot of houses and cars.
All right, guys, TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Speaking of David Gardner's, you can find them on 911 University Drive East in College Station. They're a proud corporate sponsor of Aggie Athletics and of this show since day one, during the Gabe days, during the David days. So I appreciate what they do for us. If you're looking for a gift for her, that's the place to go. Go get yourself a stackable there from David Gardner's Jewelers. Go to davidgardnersjewelers.com. And that's a hint from my next guest, Logan Lee on the BCSI hotline. Good morning to you, Lolo.
Hey man, you don't need to be calling me out and hinting to everybody in the world about David Gardner's and the jewelry that I may or may not need to get.
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about SEC play starting later on today, and just your thoughts about, I guess, the direction this program is going in with the new season here starting.
I think they're in a positive direction. They're going up. They've continued to improve with each game. I think while the last two games haven't been very competitive, I think they have done a good job of doing what was necessary, focusing on themselves and the task at hand, and coming away with multiple double-digit wins. It is what it is against the opponents that they had to schedule, the last two heading in to SEC play. But that's how everybody is across the board. And I don't think you can ask for more intensity, for more hustle out of the guys, for more enthusiasm for the game. It's been a good non-conference schedule and a good non-conference outcome for this team, especially heading into Athens tonight against Georgia.
One of the things you mentioned there is that they've continued to improve, and I feel like they find an issue, they diagnose it, they work on it, and they come back, and it seems to be, we'll see how it goes over the course of a season, but they seem to diagnose problems pretty quickly and get them fixed.
And I think that has a lot to do with the schedule, the way the schedule played out, having 10 days off in between a handful of games and then playing 3 games back to back to where they can get a bunch of film and then having another 6-day break. So that way they can get back into the gym, onto the practice court, and really work on the things that they have struggled in the games previous. So good news is, not all teams are able to adjust mid-season. Coaches can diagnose a problem and they can try to fix it, but it's ultimately up to the players to let it soak in, to understand what the coaches are saying, and then to be able to have the discipline to go do it. And I think that this team wants to learn. They want to be good. They are enjoying winning ball games, but also working hard, and that's a good sign. Throughout the course of Buzz's career of being a head coach, his teams have always gotten better throughout the year. And so I think you're going to continue to see this team grow and develop and get better. And they've already shown that they have the capabilities to do just that.
Logan, people making a big deal about A&M not playing anybody here in the non-conference, but I guess part of me wants to say they were supposed to be the easy team for these teams, right? And they ended up being, so I don't care how you get to 11 wins at this point of the season. This is way better than it felt at all last season.
Yeah, so there are two things about that. First, I can't complain about non-conference scheduling because when I was here with Coach Gillespie, we had a bunch of Southland Conference teams, and that's the way we work things, especially as a new program, as a program that not a lot of people knew about when we were coming up, but we were still a Big 12 school that had the capabilities to win. I think that's where Buzz's team is at right now. It's tough to schedule better opponents in the non-conference schedule when they think you're going to be bad, but you have the capability to beat them. Because then because not everybody wants to schedule a a Power 5 team that doesn't have a great record and possibly lose, because then that hurts you in the long run. It's easier to schedule a game if you're a Duke or a Kentucky, because if you win those games, your points skyrocket. If you lose those games, you don't plummet at all. But for a team like Texas A&M, who went 2-8 in conference last year, but might have the capabilities to win a game here or there or upset somebody, that looks like a bad loss to other people. So as Buzz grows this program, I think it'll be easier to get better teams in here to do home and home games. But right now, it's a big chance for Power 5 schools to say, yeah, let's do a home and home with Texas A&M, not knowing what the product's going to look like and saying, well, they might be a bad team, but they might have a good night and beat us. I'm not sure if that's understandable. It sounds good in my head.
Hey, Logan, what can you tell me about Georgia other than they're not very good?
They aren't very good. They are 5-8 right now in their non-conference slate. Their best win is over Memphis, which is a good basketball team. They have a lot of talent. So obviously Georgia can play well and play with talented squads. But they've also lost to the likes of Wofford and East Tennessee State. They just had a 17-point loss to Gardner-Webb. So they're very up and down. I think they have some decent talent, but they're heavy at the top end. They have 4 guys who have started every game that they've played in. So when I say every game they played in, each individual player has played in. They haven't all played in all 13 games. But every time those 4 guys have played in the game, they've started, and they're averaging over 26 minutes. Those 4 guys, 3 of them are the leading scorers and leading rebounders. The 4th one, who is actually averaging the most minutes, over 30 minutes a game, is their lead guy, who has 80-something assists this year to less than 40 turnovers. So those 4 guys are dominating the minutes, they're dominating the points and the rebounds. The good news is they're also dominating the team's turnovers. Of the 4, only that point guard, trying to think of his name, Aaron Cook, transfer from Gonzaga. He's the only one with a positive assist-to-turnover ratio. The other 3 have more turnovers than they have assists. So that's their Jekyll and Hyde. They live and die with these 4 guys who score the most points and get the most rebounds, but also dominate the time of possession with the ball in their hands and turnovers. Braylon Bridges, 6'11", 240 pounds. He is a redshirt senior. He is the team's leading scorer, second leading rebounder. He has not taken a 3 this year, so he is a true big man in today's definition. So we're going to see how A&M matches up with a bigger guy. They've been playing a bunch of small teams, so let's see how Javonte Brown does, how Henry Coleman does, how Ethan Henderson does against a guy that is their size, that is more traditional. That's going to be a matchup that I want to look at. But like I said, the way we both started this out, Georgia is not a good team. It's a road game though, and that gives them the upper hand to start the game. We'll see where A&M takes it.
All right, so I am trying to make this NCAA tournament thing a conversation piece the whole year. When I say try, like I'm thinking to myself, how is it a possibility that 3 weeks into conference play, a month into conference play, a little bit beyond, like we're a conversation piece for maybe getting into the NCAA tournament. So I'm looking through SEC schools and I'm trying to figure out where are the gimme games and where are the games that are going to be the ones that make or break this season. And I think the Georgia are the gimme games. You got to have those. You got to have the Missouri game. But what about those 50-50 games, those teams, middle-tier teams? Where does A&M stack up, I think, as of today with the rest of the SEC, going off what we've seen with one lens?
That's a very hard question. And the reason it's so hard this year is because, one, you're coming off of you're coming off of a COVID year where everything was just a little different. Everybody played a little different. Everybody reacted a little different. But two, with the whole free transfer, if you look, I feel like every SEC team has had 6 or 7 new players. And so they're all just kind of hitting their stride right now. So you don't necessarily know where these guys are at when it comes to conference play and playing against the same level of competition. I do think Georgia is a must-win. You cannot lose to Georgia and expect to be in the tournament talks, unless you lose to Georgia and then you go and beat Kentucky and Florida and Mississippi State and Alabama. I mean, I think those are the top schools in the conference right now as we speak. The Missouri game, like you said, that's a game that you don't want to lose. That's a game that will be a black eye on your record. I don't think you can lose to Ole Miss. I think that's the way that they've played. They have some talent, but the way that they've played so far, that would be a blemish on your record as well. That would be tough to overlook. Outside of that, I think the middle of the pack is just where it's at. Texas A&M is going to be, in my opinion, at this stage of the game, a 6, 7, 8 seed, maybe a 5 if they really grow and develop. But if we're speaking about this is exactly where the team is. Where's the team right now? I think they're 6, 7, or 8 in conference.
That would be great, though, right? I mean, considering all the new pieces, and I know you mentioned there's a lot of new pieces everywhere, but for where this team was last year, considering how bad they thought this team was going to be this year, if they can be anywhere in that middle tier there, 6, 7, 8, I think that'd be a huge banner year for Buzz and what he's building.
No, I think that's a tremendous step in the right direction if they end up right there. I think they'll be an NIT team if they're right there. I think depending on the games that they win to get them to 6, 7, or 8. If they're a 6, depending on what games they win, people could be talking about them as a bubble team. Everything there's a lot to play out. It's very early. Obviously, conference starts tonight for the Aggies, and they have to get a win starting with Georgia. If they don't get a win starting with Georgia, they're already going to be behind the 8 ball, and they've got to make up some ground immediately.
How deep do you think Buzz is going to go with the bench here during SEC play?
On regular minutes, I would say 8 guys that are getting double-digit minutes, really making some waves for this team. I think he'll play 10 or 11 in every game, but when we're talking about meaningful minutes and really having an impact, I think you're looking at 8, maybe 8.5. That 9th guy may be different every single night, but if there's a hot hand, he's going to ride them, and he's not going to be afraid to put in that 9th, 10th, or 11th guy just to see what he can stir up. But we've talked about it all non-conference schedules. This is a win by committee type team. There's not one guy that is just head and shoulders above the rest. Although Quentin Jackson has been making a strong stand for that position. But I would say 8, maybe 8.5.
Logan, one of the things Buzz talked about on Sunday afternoon was if they can get their free throw percentage just a tad bit higher. I think they're at 65% right now. If they can get it in the 68 to 70 percentage, how different this season could look. Your thoughts to that on where this team is? Some games they hit 85% of their free throws. Some games they hit 44% of their free throws. Just the importance of making, I hate to say it this simple, but 1 or 2 extra ones because they are free throws.
Yeah, if they can get their percentage up to 70, maybe 70, 72, 74%, I think they'll be in good standing. 70% is kind of the average for a college team. If they can get it just above that, or if they could get it just to that, you'll see a difference in a number of games. I think the way that A&M is going to play in conference, they're going to be able to speed it up in some games. They're going to be able to slow it down in some games. Either way, they are always attacking the rim. And when they're attacking the rim and when your team is as intense and as aggressive as Buzz wants his guys to play, you're going to get to the foul line. So you have to take advantage of those opportunities. If they can get to 70%, I think that'll change a game or two in the Aggies' favor, and that's going to be big in the overall scheme of things. So, yeah, free throw shooting is going to be huge for this Texas A&M team.
All right, last thing for you. Taking away their 11-2 record, let's not consider that at all and who they've played. Is this team better than you thought they'd be entering conference play?
Without question. I thought that there was a chance that they would struggle in the Maui Invitational. I thought that there was a chance. Now, I don't think their record would have been much different, but I didn't think that they were going to be the games were going to be as lopsided as they had on the scoreboard as what they've done so far. I thought that they would go into conference play probably 10-3. Thought they would sneak out either an extra game in the Maui Invitation or let one slip away to another team. And actually, the Abilene Christian game was one that I was really worried about. I know we talked about that before the Abilene Christian game, and I wrote some things on the scouting report to kind of let everybody know, hey, this is a tough team. It's a tough matchup for A&M. But they squeaked out a win against that one, and then they won a second game in the Maui Invitational. And so I thought they were going to win 9 or 10 in non-conference, but I didn't think that they were going to win all of these games as handily as they have. And that's pretty impressive so far.
Logan, we appreciate it, man. Thanks very much.
Absolutely. See you, brother.
All right, man. If you guys want to be a part of the basketball discussion, you can certainly do that. 979-693-1150. That is the BCSI hotline or the A&B text line. Love to hear from you guys on your thoughts on, conference play starting. Do you kind of believe in this team? Do you think they can make some noise here in the SEC? Just be a relevant team here for the next 6 weeks to 8 weeks? We'll be discussing that here in the next segment. Also, if you can be caller number 1, we're going to give you a free car wash to Aggieland Express Car Wash in South College Station off of William D. Fitch and Greens Prairie. They're Aggie owned and operated with the friendliest staff and the personal touch. They offer a monthly membership. We're going to give that first caller a free car wash right now from Aggieland Express in South College Station. 979-693-1150 is the number.
Your home for the Houston Texans is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. This is The Zone.
Since 1957, Slovačik Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovačik is the official sausage of Texas A&M Athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovačik. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovačik Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
People join Walk MS to raise awareness and funds that change the world for everyone affected by multiple sclerosis. MS attacks the brain and spinal cord. It's the most common neurological disease leading to disability in young adults. Walk MS brings communities together, creating teams with friends, loved ones, and coworkers to rally around those we care about and end MS forever. Join us. Together we are stronger. Walk MS fundraising accelerates research breakthroughs and life-changing breakthroughs. It will take all of our passion, determination, and fundraising to end MS forever. Together, we can change the world for people with MS. Join us. Register today, start a team, and raise funds at walkms.org.
Suck it up.
It's not a big deal.
Snap out.
Just get over it.
We've all heard it. But if you're experiencing extreme stress, it's not just in your head. It can affect your entire body because toxic stress can hurt us physically without us even knowing it. If you've lost a job, worry about your next meal, or have trouble making it through the day, if you're feeling the effects of stress, we can help. Text STRESS to 211-211 to find a solution.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Park at Tradition's Exceptional Senior Living, First Financial Bank, and Cooper's Barbecue. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Grab your first cup of coffee weekday mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor, right here on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Plus, online at RadioAggieland.com. WC Tractor, your local award-winning Kubota in New Holland. Do you have questions? Look them up online at WCTractor.com. That's WCTractor.com. You can also call them at 1-888-8-TRACTOR. That's 1-888-8-TRACTOR. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor.
Welcome back to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I want to remind you that all guests and callers join us on the BCSI hotline. You no longer have to drive to Houston, Dallas, or Austin to get major eye surgery such as cataract and glaucoma. All you have to do is call my buddy Dr. K there at BCSI. They're going to take care of you at the top floor of the Physician Center. 979-701-2020 is the website. You can check out the it's the phone number, 979-701-2020. The website, though, is mybcsi.com. The Aggies start their SEC basketball play. The men do here later on this evening, 6 o'clock, as they take on Georgia there in Athens, and looking for reasons of optimism. I was here during the Billy Gillespie days, and to me, those were just awesome to cover because you felt something big was going to happen. You know, I'd say all that year, like, I feel like something big's happening. I feel like something big's happening, and it certainly was a fun season. Not saying that this is got that same feeling. We'll have to find out how conference play goes. But I will tell you that you know this in most sports, and we see it a lot in basketball, but defense wins. The defense travels. This Aggie basketball team is gritty, as you would expect a Buzz Williams team to be. You're going to win some games that you shouldn't win because of this defense, right? There's going to be a game or two where you're like, man, how are we in this thing? We can't even score, and they find a way to win. You may lose some because this team does seem to play at a certain level, and they make every game close, but I think you're going to win some games you don't expect to win because of that defense. And if you think about Buzz, he's won everywhere. I don't look at last year as anything other than a bad year. COVID situation ravaged this program in particular, ravaged everybody, but this particular program, it really hurt them. But I feel like this group of players, the vibe is right, the mentality is right. This group just seems to get along, and winning will do that. 11 wins to start your non-conference season is a great way to do it. But now, they're lacking. There's no doubt that they're lacking in a lot of areas. The free throw shooting we've talked about, some of the size, the rebounding issues. Those are areas of concern. But Buzz has built things like this before. And you think about some of his past stops. He's been in the NCAA tournament as prior stop, I should say, 5 of 6 seasons, including 3 top 25 rankings. They won 16 games in year one. Right? Year one, which was considered an excellent season where he won the SEC Coach of the Year. They won 16 games. This team is going to win more than 16 games this year. They're going to be closer to 20. Now, certain things have to happen, but it starts tonight. You got to take down a very bad Georgia team. Bad in the fact that you should win this game. You should win this game. You should win the Missouri game. You should start the season off with 2 of 3 wins. I know you have Arkansas at home this weekend. That'll be the true test. But you got to win these easy games. And then you look at those middle-tier SEC teams. And I had the standings up earlier. And they're all, a lot of teams are 12-1, 10-3. They're all right in that same mix. But you've got to win the Vanderbilt games. You got to win the Ole Miss games. You got to at least split with those schools. You got to win the Florida game. And I think Florida's good. LSU's tough. We know that. There's some really hard games up ahead, especially when you get to SEC play. But if you can win some of those games that you don't expect, or those tweener games, those 50-50 games, if you will, you're going to get yourself to 18, 19, 20 wins because you've got to take care of the games that are expected wins. You have to do that. But beyond that, you win, you steal a couple, you're looking at yourself as a team that'll at least be interesting come, March conversations, and at the very least, an NIT team. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, Tom Hart going to join us when we come back here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. He had a scheduling snafu yesterday, I should say. So he's joining us today for a 9:35 hit. We'll talk to him about the bowl game that he's going to be working. I believe it's tonight, right? LSU, K-State. We got that, and plus all the things happening with A&M and the future of college football. That's next on TexAgs.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. A&M Consolidated High School presents The Addams Family, the musical comedy. Performances run January 13th through the 16th. Purchase tickets online at amchschoir.org/musical. Pride Community Center offers 2 support groups to bring individuals together to address societal pressure, discrimination, and stigma regarding LGBTQ+ identity. For more information on these programs, visit pridecc.org. When you don't know where to turn to 211 Texas, a free, easy-to-remember helpline that connects you to community services. Simply dial 211 or visit 211texas.org. Listen in to the College Football National Championship game, Alabama versus Georgia, from ESPN Radio and presented by T-Mobile, right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, and online at radioaggieland.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
When seconds matter in the game, every single decision made can mean a big win or a frustrating loss. When it comes to buying your next home and selling your existing home in the current market, every decision can mean serious money. Aggie fans, it's Dave South, and as you know, I've studied the best players and the best teams to represent our A&M family. One thing I've learned over the years, the best coaches have the respect of their team and the 12th man, you, the fans. In Bryan College Station, no realtor has more 5-star reviews on Google than Lance Lester and his team at the Lester Group. Why is that? Simple. No one offers more options that benefit you. If you want to buy your next home before you sell your current home, Lance can help you do that. If you want to know the date and price that you can count on your home selling for, Lance can guarantee it in writing. When the game is on the line, you want a leader with a proven track record calling the shots. Get your home sold faster and for the most money. Work with my friend Lance Lester and the Lester Group. Go to thelestergroup.com. That's thelestergroup.com and experience lightning in a bottle selling your home.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
This is Jerome from Birmingham, previously from the Paul Feinbaum Show.
An Oscar winner. Can't tell you how excited we are to welcome J.K. Simmons to our program.
Baseball is competing. Football is competing. I don't understand competing in the creative arts. I always use the word receive this award or that award because it's not like I'm arm wrestling Mark Ruffalo to see who's going to come out on top.
It's the Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center. 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
All right, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to a traveling man, Tom Hart, joining us here on the BCSI hotline. Are you somewhere in Houston, my friend?
I am. I just got done polishing your statue downtown. So yeah, it's good to be here. This will be a fun game tonight. It's going to be a clown show, but it'll be fun.
So who's playing? Like, I mean, every time I see reports, LSU's got 36 players. What's the latest with LSU?
It's wild, man. David, they have 38 scholarship players available. I don't want to give away too much, but like because we're trusted with some of these personnel issues. But let me just say that you think of every position, and they'll have their whole entire offensive line. That's great. Their defensive line is intact, but they're missing some depth, so that's going to hurt them. But they're missing guys everywhere else. They don't have a scholarship quarterback. We'll see. I think we'll see John Trey Kirkland is a hot rumor, who played quarterback in high school, but he hadn't really thrown a pass in like 4 years. But it's the other positions that you don't really consider. There's some special teams issues that they're dealing with too. That's like, they just can't catch a break. But they're here, and they've got a skeleton coaching staff. They've got one holdover from the staff. Brad Davis, the O-line coach, is going to be on Brian Kelly's staff going forward. He's the interim head coach. They've got their first-year offensive coordinator, first-year defensive coordinator, and the rest of the staff is GAs and analysts that are going to try and coach this team. And it's not just coaching in the game, right? Obviously, there's some complications when you got guys who are doing it for the first time, as position coaches, as whatever, but also just the practices leading up to this. I mean, they didn't have a lot of dudes to run practice. They have 3 cornerbacks healthy for this game, 3. So I don't know. To me, it makes it even more intriguing because it's kind of makeshift. I don't know if you remember College World Series, but before NC State was forced to opt out, and they were getting ready to go to the championship series, they played a game with 10 available players. They had a pitcher playing first base. They had a reliever start the game, and they had to play against Kumar Rocker, who, ended up being I think top 5 pick. I forget where he went when he went to the Mets. And a dude hit a home run off Rocker. They won the game, and they had this incredible opportunity and stories to tell forever because they were just thrown out there to play. And now football's different, obviously, than playing 9 innings of a baseball game, and you're playing a Power 5 foe in Kansas State that's like fully healthy. They've got no opt-outs. They've got an All-American running back. They've got a great quarterback, good defensive end, one of the best in the Big 12. So we'll see what happens, but I think it goes one of 2 ways, right? Like, either Kansas State just imposes its will and shoves it down LSU's throat early, and LSU just kind of folds, or they make a couple plays because they still have 4-star dudes out there, even though they're young and inexperienced, and they gain momentum and confidence, and they hang around and have a chance for like this incredible bowl opportunity with a fraction of the players that they should otherwise have.
Tom, have you heard anything about Brian Kelly's involvement? Does he communicate with the existing staff? Does his imprint out there at all with what's going on?
Not much. Now they had, getting ready for bowl practice, they had 5 like fundamental practices before they started Kansas State prep. So he and whichever coaches he had hired at the time, which, he brought in Matt House as his defensive coordinator, used to be at Kentucky, then with the Chiefs. He hired an offensive coordinator a few days ago. So those guys I don't think were involved, but Brian Kelly was there with a couple of others. Brian Polian came down with him from Notre Dame. So they had 5 fundamental practices. They observed, maybe even helped run those, and then they let the existing staff take over for bowl prep. They changed their practice structure, which is really, boring to most listeners and viewers right now. But Brian Kelly came in and said, here's how I want my practices run from a structured timing standpoint, and these are the periods we're going to use, XYZ. So let's install that now, so these kids can get used to it. But otherwise, it sounds like he's been generally hands off. He's here in Houston. He'll be at the game tonight, but only in a political capacity, shaking hands and kissing babies. I've never understood that, David. Like, you're getting paid, I forget what he's getting paid, $8-9 million, right? You left Notre Dame. You came to A&M. You came to LSU. You had to hustle to put together a recruiting class, and your team is playing in a bowl. And the crux of this team that's playing is young players that will be here next year. Now, granted, you got guys playing out of position, and you're missing guys to the NFL draft, and you're missing guys due to academic suspension and drug suspension, and it's a fraction of your roster, but it's still your roster. So why aren't you out there coaching? And I've always scratched my head at that. If you're not on the recruiting trail, which is not possible now, then isn't there some value in being out there and working with that team? I've really never understood it. I know every situation is different, but I would think that if you're a coach who's worth that money, then there would be value in you working with your team before just randomly taking over, January 5th, tomorrow. So it is what it is.
It is a little awkward. Like, at least get to know the kids at that point and be involved in the practice and the way they go about their business. Hey, let's move on. So this past week, and I know you don't follow recruiting all that much, but another guy decided to go to A&M. When you talk to these other programs, what are you hearing about what's happening in College Station?
They're noticing. They are certainly noticing. Now, I tell you, to be honest, some of the conversations that we're having, because I enjoy talking to other coaches that don't really know well or haven't experienced, like Chris Kleiman at Kansas State. And we're talking about NIL and opportunities and how it impacts recruiting. And that's a major story with what A&M has done, with what Texas has done with the offensive line deal and all across the country. So kind of taking a 30,000 foot view of all of college football recruiting, and this impacts A&M because it's the number one recruiting class maybe ever, right? Depending on your metrics. It's obvious that there are schools that are attacking this from an NIL standpoint from opposite ends of the spectrum. I mean, there are a handful of schools, and these are Power 5 schools and programs and coaches I've talked to that are kind of hands off, hey, we'll see what happens. We don't really take a lot of guys that are worried about, where's my money, where's my truck, this and that. And then there are other schools, and A&M is in this boat they are hyper aggressive, and they're finding ways to use these rules to their advantage to show kids, you come here, we're invested in football and we're invested in you. And it's great for the A&Ms of the world. It's great for Alabama. It's great for, USC will get to that point if they're not there already with Lincoln Riley. But there's also a part of it that's probably going to widen the gap, I think, when it comes to recruiting. Whereas more 4 and 5 stars, we thought that NIL would maybe level the playing field and you could pick off a 4 or 5 star. College basketball had this recently, like 4 or 5 stars were going to other places instead of the Blue Bloods, and it leveled the playing field a little bit. One of the reasons we saw Kentucky be down the last couple of years. Doesn't seem to be having the same impact on college football. And I think it's because administrations, from people I've talked to, they either don't know how to do it like the bigger schools do, or they're not spending the time to do it right. And so I think it'll be interesting to watch and see where we end up from a recruiting standpoint, the haves and have-nots. So we're going to have more of an abundance of 4 and 5 stars at a smaller collection of schools instead of kind of distributed. And that was the difference in the Michigan game, right? I mean, Michigan had, I think, 1 5-star, and you go against a program that's got 20. Think about it from in an NFL perspective. Like, I don't care if you're Bill Belichick. If one NFL team gets 20 first-round picks and the other one gets 1 first-round pick, you just can't compete with that. So that's what A&M has been able to accomplish, is certainly getting noticed and probably an indicator of where we're going in the next few years under this new system with NIL, used as I understand there are rules to it, but used as an enticement to say, come here, football means a lot. And the people who support our program will show you just how much it means to this area and to the school.
I've listened to several broadcasters talk about, going to these bowl games and with the opt-outs, and they're still having a great time, and they're seeing still the same passion that they expect to see regardless of the opt-outs. But to just give me your assessment of how opt-outs have changed this bowl season and throughout the last few years.
Yeah, you can look at it a couple different ways. Let's start with the positive. So I just came from the Rose Bowl, and Ohio State had 4 stars opt out. Now, I personally think that 3 of those guys could have gained a lot by playing, because there's only, there'll be 30 first-round picks, right? But there's only like 15 or 16 that are guaranteed first rounders. So to me, you have an opportunity to put a game on tape, go out there and do it. You're a late first rounder. There's a lot to gain by playing in a bowl game. I still believe that. And the reason I believe that is because I think there are scouts who have their nose in it every day. They know exactly who everybody is. But sometimes they get overruled on draft day by a GM or an owner who is impacted by recency bias, by something that they saw during bowl season, something they saw at the combine, that maybe a guy was different in that moment than they had shown on tape for the previous 3 years of college, right? A great example, Utah has a kid, Britton Covey, 24 years old, kind of a Wes Welker type. Not every team's going to be interested in him, but he doesn't need every team, just a couple. And in the Rose Bowl, he has a 97-yard kickoff return. There's 14 million people watching that game, including every NFL GM and probably most NFL owners. And one of them might say, I don't care what he's done the last 4 years in college. I'm interested in that guy. And the other way to look at it is 2 of Ohio State's starting wide receivers opted out of the game. That left an opportunity for Jackson Smith and Jigba to have this Rose Bowl record day. But it also opened the door for Marvin Harrison Jr., who's got the name but not the experience, who had 5 catches all year, and he left the Rose Bowl with 3 touchdowns. Well, that's huge for Marvin. So you have opportunities that open up for guys who haven't seen the field a ton because they're behind stars. One other aspect of this that we're going to see going forward, I believe, if you're smart, is coaches are going to start getting, because of opt-outs and because of transfer, whatever it might be, they're going to start finding more time throughout the season for their second-string quarterback, for their fourth-string wide receiver, for their third-string running back, because you have to create the depth, knowing that if you have a star there, he might not be playing in your bowl game. So you need depth and guys that you can trust. This thing with LSU, most of it's out of their control due to suspensions and all this other stuff, and guys leaving, Max Johnson leaving, obviously, to come to A&M. But there are other schools out there who maybe hadn't played their second-string quarterback enough, hadn't played their backup wide receivers enough to get them a taste to have confidence. I don't think fans miss it. I think the bowl season is less for diehard college football fans and more for casual observers outside of the playoffs, obviously. And the TV ratings back that up. Like, there are more people watching because it's great television programming. Tonight, LSU and Kansas State will I know Kansas State will be playing in front of its largest television audience of the year. It may get there for LSU. Obviously, they're used to playing on big stages and national television, but it's television programming. It fills a void, and it satisfies football fans.
Here's my other question to that, though. Where does the opt-out, where does it end? Because we see it in high school. Kids are not finishing their year or playing sometimes. If your team is out of the conference race, are guys going to start opting out there with 4 games to go? You see what I'm saying? I feel like it's hard to stop this.
It is. It's a runaway train. The one aspect, there's this idea floating around, and I subscribe to it now, but this is all uncharted territory, so we don't know what's really going to happen. But when you expand the playoff and you have more teams involved, not only later in the season, but you also have more teams involved in the playoff itself, but you have more teams competing for those playoff spots. There's more to play for. You're more invested. I think guys stick around. Kenny Pickett plays for Pitt in the Peach Bowl if it's a playoff game. Kenneth Walker III, best running back in college football, plays for Michigan State in the Peach Bowl if it's a playoff game. If they've got to win that game, then move on. There's just so much value, I think, still for these players from an exposure standpoint, from an opportunity standpoint, and from an ego standpoint. I mean, let's be honest, players love the attention they get when they play well in big games. And as that grows, once we just got to get this 12-team thing going. I mean, I think that's the key. The attention that it'll have, the money that it'll bring, the opportunities that it'll bring for everybody involved, all the stakeholders, it's just too great for these other conferences. The Pac-12 doesn't have a team in the playoff. The Big 12 doesn't have a team in the playoff. The Big 10 out of the playoff. For these, it's just too important for these teams just to push it to the side. Ohio State was, despite their effort, they were generally, as a whole, disinterested in the Rose Bowl, which is mind-blowing to say, right? It's the granddaddy of them all. But if they had been playing in a playoff game, I think, those guys don't opt out. I don't think they play for an opportunity to go to the next round. The question for me is, and you kind of hinted at this, take a kid like Smith and Jigba, who has to come back for another year, who had the greatest game maybe that we've ever seen from the wide receiver position in the Rose Bowl. What does he have left to prove from an NFL standpoint? And I had these lengthy conversations with Kirk Herbstreit while we were in Pasadena. He got a lot of negative attention for what he said, but not to put words in his mouth, but this idea that if you love to compete and you love to play the game, don't you want to play the game? And so there's this balance of, are you playing football because you love the game and you're competing with your teammates, with your brothers? That gets real cliche, I understand. Or are you playing it as a means to an end to get to the NFL, to get the paper? And I think everybody's different. You can't, but I think kids have different motivations, and there's a lot of dudes out there that just want to play ball. And that opportunity will continue to be there for them. And maybe more so if they're teammates who just want the big contract. If they opt out, then, what we've learned is, I think, and you can disagree with me, but I think what we've learned is college football fans are there for the logo. They're there for the jersey. They're there for the camaraderie, for the spirit within that stadium. It doesn't really matter if there's turnover at these positions. A&M fans are going to pull for A&M. They want the best players to be there. But if it's a second best guy, are you not going to watch the game? No, it's a lot of it is, the old Seinfeld line was, you're cheering for laundry. Yeah, there'd be different guys in that uniform every year, but Aggies are going to pull for the Aggies. Ohio State fans are going to pull for Ohio State, no matter how many All-Americans are on the field. And to me, that's the appeal of college football.
Tom, man, thanks so much. Happy New Year to you. I think I can still say it to you, and we'll catch up with you next week.
David, thanks, man. I'm going to go back out and shine your statue again. There are some pigeons that are doing really bad things to it.
Not just pigeons, my friend. Thanks very much, brother.
Thanks, dude.
All right, man. Tom Hart here on the BCSI hotline. When we come back, an open segment, then we'll do the 10 o'clock hour. Tomas Romo going to be joining us. Tom Luganbill going to be joining us. It'll be a loaded hour. We'll be back here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner.
Your home for Texas A&M women's basketball is Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone. The Zone.
It's time to do your civic duty and make sure the best candidates get elected for office. Hi, I'm Gabriel Garcia, and I'm asking you to re-elect me as your Brazos County District Clerk. I have a passion for public service, and I've made a number of positive changes in the District Clerk's office, including added deputy clerks in court, stressing the importance of preserving and archiving records, and adding a Clerk 1 position without raising the salary budget. Re-elect me, Gabriel Garcia.
Paid for by Gabriel Garcia Campaign, Head Septic Treasurer.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
When we started Intercon in early 1991, we were well aware that we would be competing with some companies that use unscrupulous techniques to make a quick sale, such as bait and switch, or 40% off if you commit today, or misleading, incomplete quotes. Intercon's practice is to be completely honest and encourage prospective customers to talk to our former customers. We've encouraged customers to get multiple quotes. We are confident and proud of our value proposition for windows, glass, and solar screens. We never want anyone to rush into a decision they will regret in the future. Just remember, warranties are only as good as the people who provide them and are servicing the area when situations arise. This is our home and only marketplace, and we will protect our home turf. You've probably heard the saying, the buck stopped here, and that is with me, Brad Beard, president and co-owner of Intercon, LLC.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
The strength of America, our values, our way of life hasn't just been won on the battlefield. It's won every day in our communities when we come together, extending hands of compassion, service, and hope to those who need it most. For over 100 years, the American Legion has been strengthening communities across our nation by providing life-saving help and support to our veterans and neighbors during times like we're facing today.
It's what the Legion's all about.
From blood drives to distributing food, from responding to emergencies and protecting the most vulnerable among us. Our mission is making America's communities stronger.
We are one family, and therefore, we care.
We are the American Legion, veterans strengthening America. To learn how you can help, visit legion.org.
Keyshawn, J. Will,
and Max.
Howie Long joining us this morning on Keyshawn, J. Will.
Howie Long, son.
Kyle Long joining us this morning on the morning.
Thank you, Michael Thomas.
It's all in the family.
Hey, when I was on the podcast the other day, and I said, Kyle, you didn't even say anything. You were just like, I know in your mind, you probably was like, this dummy.
Spend your mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor. Mornings from 5 to 8 here on The Zone.
It is TexAgs Radio. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Tomas Romo going to be joining us here momentarily. Start the 10 o'clock hour. A couple of text messages to get into. On the A&B text line, it says, it's from an anonymous texter, Donovan Green versus Jake Johnson. After last weekend, we are all very high on DG and feel he could make an impact next year. Could we feel the same week about JJ after all the All-American game, and how much of an advantage will Jake getting to campus in the spring give him? Would be cool to see a true freshman tight end perform like Bowers has for the Dogs this year. P.S. Bowers was closely ranked to JJ and DG coming out of high school. Absolutely, especially knowing that Jalen Watermeyer's heading on to the NFL, and just the amount of talent coming in to help that position, and also knowing that there's been some guys in that spot that haven't brought it, or at least to the level that we expected to this point. Absolutely, we could see that. That would be a fun thing to see. Jim and Temple, also on the A&B text line, said the Aggies' free throw shooting can certainly be improved. It's a 15-inch unguarded shot, 15-foot unguarded shot straight away from behind the stripe. Each guy has his own routine, muscle memory, stay in touch in the moment. An advantage for Buzz's team is it's hard for opponents to scout. They can't focus on any one or two of our guys because we have 7 or 8 guys who are capable of heating up at any time on both ends of the floor, turning good defense into good offense. And that's why I struggle with this team. And when I say struggle, I just don't know. I think they're going to be in every game. I think they're going to play great defense all the time. They're going to harass teams. They're going to be in the mix. I worry about the free throw shooting. I know that their three-point shooting has been good. I worry about their rebounding. But again, if you can be gritty enough and annoy teams enough, you're going to win some of those games you weren't expected to win. All right, 10 o'clock hour. We'll do some NFL talk. We'll do some recruiting talk. Tom Luganbill was at the game this past Sunday, the Under Armour All-American game. We'll get his thoughts about covering that collection of Aggie talent, 16 players in that one. We'll talk to him about that, and we'll continue getting your phone calls and your text messages there on the A&B text line. We're still monitoring everything happening with the defensive coordinator search. If that is coming close to an end, we will update you on that as things progress. It'll be a loaded 10 o'clock hour. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Here's Brad Beard of Intercon.
When we started Intercon in early 1991, we were well aware that we would be competing with some companies that use unscrupulous techniques to make a quick sale, such as bait and switch, or 40% off if you commit today, or misleading incomplete quotes. Intercon's practice is to be completely honest and encourage prospective customers to talk to our former customers. We've encouraged customers to get multiple quotes. We are confident and proud of our value proposition for windows, glass, and solar screens. We never want anyone to rush into a decision they will regret in the future. Just remember, warranties are only as good as the people who provide them and are servicing the area when situations arise. This is our home and only marketplace, and we will protect our home turf. You've probably heard the saying, the buck stop here, and that is with me, Brad Beard, president and co-owner of Intercon LLC.
Whether you have new construction or an existing home, let the fine folks from Intercon help your home energy efficiency year-round. Call Brad Beard of Intercon today at 823-3639. That's 823-3639.
Hey, Joe, I thought you were retired.
Living on a fixed income is tough. So here I am, an essential worker.
I know. I mean, food prices are going up every day. Thank goodness for benefitscheckup.org.
Benefits what?
Benefitscheckup.org. It's a free website where people over 60 can find help to pay for food, medicine, even utilities. I got $1,200 a year in benefits. Maybe it can help you.
Paul Feinbaum is SEC country, and Aggieland is too. Listen in to Paul weekday afternoons 2 to 4 on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. This is KZNE, College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. There have never been so many Texans getting tested for COVID or getting the virus.
The state says there were 12,253 new reported cases New Year's Eve, but then the numbers really tick up. 44,110 January 1st, 47,131 on January 2nd, and 51,481 Monday the 3rd. In an email, spokeswoman says they've been processing more than 250,000 test results a day over the last few days. The positivity rate for the PCR test up to 34%. Now, if there's a silver lining, she says these case counts do include backlogged lab reports from last week. Barbara Schwartz, TSN News.
The Brazos County Health District's first pandemic report of the new year should be out later today. On her 35th birthday, a Bryan woman goes to the Brazos County Jail for the 9th time. According to the College Station Police arrest report, an officer patrolling the Northgate District on Saturday saw a man trying to keep his female friend from approaching a bar. When the officer asked what was going on, the manager of the bar came out and said the woman had assaulted her earlier. The officer learned Roxanne Morales and her friend had left the bar with a full fishbowl beverage. The manager followed them to take the drink away and dumped it out. Morales hit the manager in the back of the head. The bar manager did not press charges, but Morales was arrested and charged with public intoxication. It's not your imagination. Everybody is moving to Texas, according to the latest study by U-Haul.
We have lots of jobs and affordable homes. There's low regulation, friendly people. You know, it's got that wide open, free feel, so people really like it here.
That's the company's John Martinez. U-Haul looked at one-way rentals. Texas had more people coming than leaving per capita. Florida is second. And when it comes to the states where people are fleeing, California is at the bottom. But the study found that the exodus was not as severe as in 2020. For more news, go online to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Since 1957, Slovakic Sausage in Snook has been making the best tasting sausage in Texas from the same family recipe. Slovakic is the official sausage of Texas A&M Athletics. Whether it's from the grill to the family gathering or from the pit to the neighborhood party, serve the sausage voted best in the Brazos Valley. Serve Slovakic. Be sure to come in and check out their full-service meat market, relax on the front porch, or grab some fresh kolaches from their bakery on your way out. Slovakic Sausage, Highway 60 in Snook.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our Aggie broadcast sponsors, Pioneer Steel, Gulf States Toyota, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Steve Miller with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click hillcosupply.com. Texas A&M men's basketball tips off its SEC slate this evening as it pays a visit to Georgia. The Maroon and White are 11-2 and riding a 4-game winning streak. Tip-off is at 6 o'clock with the broadcast on 1620-94.5 WTAW. The Aggie women dropped their SEC opener Sunday falling to LSU's 75-66. The Maroon and White were forced to play without 3 of their bigs due to COVID-19. Coach Gary Blair on what it's like wading through the protocol waters.
Every school is different. It doesn't matter what the SEC or the national rules are or what Dr. Fauci says sometimes. Every school is different. We're not all the same in the SEC. We had a 10-day quarantine and chopped down to 5. But even after 5, you still have protocol. And that means cardiologists, blood work, return to play. 25%, 50%, 75% of the minutes that you normally average.
25th ranked Aggies are on the road Thursday when they visit Tennessee. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. I'm Steve Miller on The Zone.
Listening to The Zone on your smart speaker is easy. If Louie can do it, anyone can do it. 2 simple steps, and you can hear Chip Howard Sports Talk, TexAgs Radio, The Louie Bellina Show, or Aggie football, basketball, or baseball on your smart speaker. Step 1, and one time only needed, say Enable Zone 1150 skill. Then anytime you want to hear your favorite host or teams, all you have to do is say, play Zone 1150. Make sure to set it up and say, Enable Zone 1150 skill. And then listen in anytime just by saying, play Zone 1150.